I have faith in you. I'm excited. Yay, I have another partner. I know. Get out.
Go grab your stuff, please.
Okay, well, we're going to slowly take our seats. Thanks for staying. Hopefully you got a few treats. Okay. To begin with, if you would like a copy of the slides that we're going to show, there's a few up here. If you would like a more detailed version of the budget, we have about 10 of them. Nancy can hand those out. So come on up if you want the slide package, and hands up if you want Nancy to deliver you a budget. Oh, thanks. If we look tired, maybe they'll let us go.
Start Christmas.
Okay. I think it's already on. So I'm Leah. I'm the chair of the board. There's about 12 of us who we're hard at work at this for the last few months, actually. Robert especially was working hard on this budget, and we're excited to present it to you today. There's a few orders of business first, and then we can get to some fun stuff. We need to motion to approve the agenda, which is approve the budget. We need to motion to begin the meeting. So I motion to begin the meeting and approve the agenda looking at budget. Can somebody second that? Peter, oh, thank you. Can you write that up? Usually only members vote on a budget, but we can make a motion that adherents, which is anybody in this room today, can vote. So that's usually preferred. So is a question or a motion? Making a motion. Okay, go ahead. And your name is? He motioned that adherents, which is just anyone in the room today, can vote on the budget. And we need a seconder. And Con will second. All in favor? Any against? Any abstaining? Great. Okay, well, we want to start with a bit of a celebration. So we want to start with looking back at 2024 and all the amazing things, as you heard in the sermon this morning, that happened in this building and in our city and in the world. So have a look at this video that Danielle put together for us. Yeah, it's a lot to celebrate. There's a lot of good things in there. We'll go to the next slide. We wanted to maybe just focus a little bit on those numbers that you saw at the end of the video. You can read through these and be impressed, but what jumped out to me, there's 310 on average worshiping on Sunday, but there's 411 who have watched the sermon online during the week. So it's double the people who are hearing the message of love and acceptance, which is amazing. And all those numbers speak to the good work that we're doing and the people that we're reaching with a message of love. The next slide. And really, this is a celebration, this AGM meeting. We raised $1 million this year for operation budgets and renovation, which is more than we've ever raised before. So this was a huge year of giving, and we want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You'll see where that money went and where we hoped it will go this year.
Hello everybody. It's been over the last few months, it's been a pleasure to get to know everybody a little bit better, and we'll continue to do that. This slide here is showing the people who have made donations in a financial category. So you see the trend that I like here is 22, 23, 24. It's been going kind of up for every category except for the 1 to 2,000 category, but that is a huge commitment from so many different people and in so many different levels, and it's another thing why we had such a phenomenal year. Thank you. This one here is the overall donations in the last 5 years, I think 4 years, pardon me. So 2021 was much larger, and then 22, 23, and 24, again, a continuous growth, and that's because of all the amazing things we do here. Next one. So this is what that money went to. Last year we allocated just over $700,000 to operations. That's to keep the building going, pay for heat, electricity, insurance, things like that, ministers and the like. Then we spent $216 on this is just last year, on the gym and the kitchen renovations. And then we raised $90,000 for the ceiling repair. That's that beautiful structure in the other room. Next one, thank you. And then for what we did last year in terms of budget versus actual. So the budgeted is what we thought we'd spend, is our best estimate at the time, and what we thought would happen. So we budgeted $940, and we actually spent under that. The same with expenses. So we actually underspent on our operational expenses. This is not the capital stuff, but the operational things. Again, heat, electricity, building, infrastructure. And then, so we actually budgeted $54,000 in a loss, and then we had a $66,000 actual loss. So that was pretty close. Give it $1 million, right? I'm like slightly out of whack here. What happened? Did I go the wrong way? Yeah. Sorry, my slides, I went the wrong way in this. So for this year, can you go to the next slide, please? These are the budgeting assumptions that we had for this year. One, that utility and facility costs will remain steady, slight bit more. We will establish the gym and the kitchen and the like are going to be done, and we'll be establishing rentals with that, so that we build that into the budget. The pickleball court will be completed, and we will be earning revenue from that as well, so we put that in our budget. There will be ongoing maintenance, even besides the large capital, big projects that are going on. We still need to fix lights. You'll see one is burnt out there, that sort of thing. And then the other the budget assumption is ongoing support for Living Spirit, the second campus. So we'll keep doing that. So for the capital budget assumptions, phase 1, which we're calling the gym and kitchen renovations, will be completed. I have some pretty exciting news about that just came in this morning. I'll talk about that in a second. And that this thing will be costed and initiated and completed this year as well. So pretty happy about that. And then there's going to be some sort of phase 2 about the renovations. After all the dust is settled, we'll say, oh, we need to do some wiring over here. Oh, we forgot to do that. Oh, the mirrors in the bathroom don't look really good. We'll be working on that really well. But just in terms of seeing where some of that money went, you can see in the other rooms, and I don't know if you've wandered around the church, but there's silver piping that's been going around, and that's where all the fire alarm new wires are happening, and that's going in. In this room, you'll notice there's those new fire things that were put up in the ceiling. There's a few of them up there. And then you'll notice that some new red fire boxes are going to be going in. So a really interesting thing, just about the care and dedication of some of the trades that are coming on site here. So they went up in the attic and, laid all the wires up there so that we wouldn't have that piping coming through this room, so it still looks really nice. So they did that above and beyond just because it's a really cool building and people are interested in it. So, yay. But you can see a little bit of what's happening, and there you go. So I've mentioned the kitchen phase 2. Now, I want to just talk off script here for a second. And this is a budget schedule that came in this morning. And I'm really excited about this. By March 26th, we should be done the gym. That should be ready to go. The kitchen and gym should be done. Yay. Yay. So when we talk about getting revenue from that sort of thing, we've got to be sort of ready to get that going. Pardon me? Oh, yeah. Give Gord something, yeah. The other one is I've got some preliminary schedule for the ceiling, this one. If all goes well, the trades are saying they can get this done by March 15th. That's pretty exciting. We will have to look at that schedule and see how it interferes with us, but my goodness, that's way different than I thought 6 hours ago. And then the other one is the fire alarm should be operational by March 17th. So, as I was saying to people, slowly, then suddenly is how it's all working out. The other one that I got, and I'm so hesitant about saying this out loud, I was budgeting, thinking that the cost for that ceiling is going to be $250,000. As of this morning, I'm saying 100. So that is pretty phenomenal. Okay, that's all good news. So it's said out loud. It was me who said it. You come back and get me later if I'm wrong, okay? Preliminary, but I want to share that exciting good news. Back onto operational budgeting, more excitement. We budgeted in here for a second full-time minister starting August 1. Built into that is, the salary for a few months and then some relocation costs, so, moving, interviewing, that kind of thing. So they probably won't come from the neighborhood, so we have to do something. So that's the second full-time ministers, nothing to do with John. We're going to be bringing in a staff and volunteer lead and starting April 1st as well. So that was a direct recommendation coming from the Ministry and Personnel Committee. You saw Suzanne speak on the thing today. That is because we have a large staff, many different people. It gets complicated when you add a lot of people to it. And the other one is a 3% cost of living for people like me. Is it over to you? All right.
Okay, so now we can look more to how are we going to do all this. And the board made a commitment to, okay, there's nothing that we want to delete. We want to do all these programs. We're going to tighten our belts on all of them and just take a little bit out of everything, but also work on the other side of the equation and try and increase our income. We seem to be just a little short on our operational budget, but we also have the large capital costs. So we're going to be asking for a 5% increase in just general giving. The board is going to be really paying attention to our stewardship team, which is the team that would fundraise and would look for ways to raise money in fun ways, or that would build community. That's going to be a large board focus this year. Not that the board will be doing it, but we'll be asking congregants to have the fun job of making us have fun, but pay to have it. Yeah, and that stewardship is not just money. There's so many volunteers that make all this happen, and we know that that's valuable, so we appreciate that as well. The next slide. So for income, we are hoping for $940K. That's just general operating. The contributions will be $730. That includes the 5% increase, and we can show you a bit more about that in a minute. Facility rentals includes the daycare in the basement, and program and other income would be weddings, funerals, pickleball rentals, kitchen rentals. Hopefully all that is picking up this year.
These guys at the back are awesome with these mics. Thank you so much. So what we're looking at, who's laughing? So again, we're a people organization and we're investing in the people. So we're having 20 different staff, that's bodies, not all full-time, many part-time. At almost $800,000. We're spending $42,000 on general administration costs, 74 on facility costs, 40 on programs, and UCC Ministry of Services, that's the Presbytery and the other one's the donation, for total expenses of just over $1 million with a net operating loss of $60K. That's our proposed budget. The capital here, these are capital projected expenses. So with in the building reserve, we have 85. Heritage ceiling room, we have 90,000 in that. And for the gym, we have 207,000. And then for the second stage of that renovation, we haven't got anything. So you can see the building reserve is restricted. The ceiling repair, I was, again, in my head, 250. So we're at 100. That's gives us a good start. And then we still have 317 to spend on the gym and kitchen to finish it, and we're estimating $52,000 for that phase 2, I said, which is like tidying the thing up, making it all look pretty. Like this room. I keep going the wrong way, pardon me. Have you got it? Oh, what we have in the bank, that's the next one. You know when you're printing something and it prints upside down and backwards? That's what I'm dealing with. So this is a slide about what we have in the bank. So in our operations account, we have $195,000. In the building reserve, this was created a few years ago, and this is $85,000. This was money that was put away when we had surpluses and was put away to do exactly that and other unforeseen issues. Heritage room, we raised $90,000 for that, so that's there. We have 207 left in the renovation fund, and there's 38,000 in the refugee fund. Some of these, for those accountants out there in the world, some of these are internally restricted, and so they have to be set aside, and we report on them like that. So that's what we have in the bank. So I didn't add that up, but that's quite a bit of money. And over to you.
So in terms of the ask, here's what that looks like for us on a personal level. I don't know, I got my statement in the last week or two of what I gave in 2024, and I thought, that's been the same for a while. I think it's time to give more. So this helps me know, okay, per month, what does that look like? And per year, the difference is not huge, but it's significant to us because it all adds up. And we also wanted to communicate that we don't want you to give more than you can give. We know that everyone is giving what they can, and you can give of your time and volunteer. But if you can, it would help this community to have those extra funds this year. Okay. So then here's how the business of it works. Nancy Watts is on our finance team. She made a motion. Do you want to officially say it? Right, and then somebody would second it. That doesn't mean it's passed yet. Then we discuss it, and then we take a vote. So if somebody could second the motion, and your name is Pam McCavis. Now we will there is a microphone for, Con is on our board as well. Is it this, oh, back there, if you grab it from the back, thanks. He will wander around and you can speak your question, and we and other board members who are sitting down there can attempt to answer it.
Check.
Maybe if you stand up when you raise your hand, just so we can see better.
We get to watch Con run around the church.
My name is John Bulger. I've been a member here, I think, for 27 years, something like that. And I'd like to thank Nancy and all the people who prepared the documentation. It's very clear and it's very easy to understand, and I appreciate that. I just have a question that I probably should know the answer to after 27 years, but that is, I see you're budgeting for 60 grand in a loss, and where exactly does that come from? Does it? You mentioned some of the reserves that we have in the bank, and does it come from certain ones, or is it not able to come from others? Where does the 60 grand come from? If all these numbers come true, which of course they won't, but anyway.
Nancy's going to answer that.
I think I can answer that, John. The slide before did show the balance in all our funds, and we do have an opening balance that relates to operations. We'd ordinarily call that the retained earnings. We have a carry forward number of, I think, 194. So the fact that we might go ahead and just be cautionary and say, well, we might have a loss this year, there are funds there that will cover that and not put us in any kind of a precarious position. Does that make sense? No, it does not. It might have been the slide before where it said cash in the bank.
It's called What Do We Have in the Bank?
Yeah.
I think it's...
No. The one that says, what do we have in the bank? There. So those are the different fund balances. And so after this year's operations, there's still 195 there. So. Yeah, so after closing out the books for this year, we will have 195,000 sitting there in our retained earnings for operations.
Hi, my name's Jasper Woodard. I've been a one-year adherent. So what I'd like to know is, I'd like the figure with the 3 years of contributions in different brackets. What would I see if I saw that figure going back past COVID? Was there a big change there? Just off the top of your head.
A couple issues. I wasn't here pre-COVID. Second, we did switch we have that new donor database that we're using. So I think it would be a worthwhile exercise. You worked your magic on this. Would you be able to answer that question?
Obviously, I don't want actual numbers. I'm just like, is there a big...
Nancy, do you recall because I've only been on the finance committee for about 2-3 years. I think there was a bump, right, about 3 years ago too. And then because that was the call for renovations, right? That was the call to bring more money in to kind of take us into what we're going to be in the future, right? Which is expanding. We can't just live off Sunday services. We're a 7-day-a-week church. We've got lots to offer to lots of people, and we also need contributions from all of those groups. So, but we have to keep the building running, and we have to have more than just the revenue stream from Sundays. So We don't have historical data going back too far, but I think 21 was high because of the call for renovations. And then, of course, we had COVID, which was difficult because we didn't have as many people attending in person, which I think happens. And we didn't have as many programs like Going Deeper and things like that help us. So, but the reality is we need to have both strong donations for operating, and then we're going to have these calls. Hopefully not so many, right? Once the renovations are done and they have a revenue stream, that'll be great. Nobody wants the roof to go, but when those things happen, we're going to make a call.
Hello. Leah said to me when she came into church this morning, don't ask any hard questions, which is why I'm going to ask a hard question. Do we have that first page available for the overhead? Okay.
We don't have that one on. Nancy, those and we had them handed out line. What's your question?
Okay, so you'll need to pay attention to a couple of these numbers. We've lost $66,564 in the last year. If I compare our top line revenue contribution, we have lost just around $66,000 in contributions between 2023 and 24, right? Okay. Meanwhile, on staff compensation, our compensation has gone up from 665,320 to 726, 659. So in other words, if we either didn't have any greater compensation expenses, or we had made as much in contributions in 24 as we did in 23, either one of those two things would have wiped out our losses, which I think tells us something. And the other thing I notice is that I think our staff do a marvelous job of projecting this church's values. So when a roof has a wee bit of a wobbly, you can turn out 200 people on a Christmas evening and you can raise from nowhere $90,000, which is way more than 200 people paying $20 each to get in the door would have brought. So there was some big pockets out there giving us money who never even claimed any credit. So it's a long story, but I think this church's asset is its building, and their ability to project the building's values and what the people in the church are bringing is what allows us to keep going when our staff costs are going up and our general contributions going down. So that's a bit of a challenge for you on the board to consider as we go forward. What is the bigger story of the numbers themselves, and what does that story tell us as a congregation about what we need to be doing going forward? That's my story, but I don't know if it holds water for anyone else.
Thanks, Jim. I did say he wasn't allowed to ask questions, but that was a good one. A few thoughts going around in my head. One, yes, we need to understand the numbers better, and that is the stewardship team, the board, we will be looking at those. We have software, we need to learn how to use it and to figure out those numbers. That is definitely a commitment that will be happening. The staff, I feel like we consider the staff an asset. They are really who we're putting our dollars behind this year in a big way. There were some additional asks for staffing this year. One is at Living Spirit, who is growing, vibrant church that needs somebody there, or shared with Hillhurst. It hasn't quite been fleshed out yet, but somebody spending paid time to help them function as a church. Also in the HR department, with a staff as big as ours, I think we have the most staff as any United Church in Canada. We need somebody looking after that staff, making sure that they're cared for and they're happy in their job, and that's not something that one present staff person can do. That needs to be somebody overseeing. M&P that's their part of their mandate, but also because our staff is so big, they're volunteers. So that's too much for a volunteer position. So there's a few more staffing asks, which the board decided was a good place to put our money and was worth the risk of adding that in. But also with the commitment of understanding the numbers, who's giving, how to ask for it. Those are the thoughts. There was another question, I think, coming. Yeah.
Just go ahead and talk. Okay, thanks. Hi, my name's Judy Alexander. I've been a member here since, 27 years ago. You can do the arithmetic. So I have a question. It's a question of vocabulary, because a month or so ago when the roof fell in, I thought it was the roof that fell in, and I heard estimates of over $100,000 to fix the place. And yet I notice now, and you spoke of the roof, I notice now it's a ceiling repair. And I was wondering if that means the roof is fine. So I just would like some clarification. Thanks.
So what happened there? I'm calling it the ceiling, it's that piece there. So what happened there is some trusses, some big pieces of wood that go across the inside, just in the attic, and there's 3 of them that are holding that, and in between that there's a whole bunch of smaller pieces. But those trusses displace the weight on our 2 load-bearing walls here, and then shove the weight off into the other places, okay? So what happened is that one in particular, it's over 100-something years old. It actually cracked and started failing. And then when the 2 pieces of wood that were put together like that, the second piece had a join there. And then that join failed as well because it was holding all the weight and it didn't do it. So then with that wear and tear and the stress on that one, these 4 areas as well started showing wear and tear. So we have wear and tear and stress throughout the ceiling. And so the fix is to come in with some new trusses. So we'll build a hole in that wall over there, hole in that wall over there, bring either a laminated piece of wood, put it in, or a steel one as well. I'm not sure about the extent of having to put new pillars in here, but that's the ceiling, the plaster and lath started falling, and that was the tell that was happening, but it really is a structural roof problem.
It's a roof problem.
Well, ceiling roof, there's a bit of an attic, but we do think it initiated over in the corner there with the freeze and thaw, where the stairwell, where it's closer to the ceiling, to the roof.
Okay, so what is the condition of the roof?
Are you talking about the stuff on the outside?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's fine. When was it last done?
I don't know.
Okay.
Bob?
Okay, thanks. So it's just a ceiling problem?
Well, it's not, it's the truss, it's the trusses is the problem. And they're just those big pieces of wood that are holding everything up.
Okay,
They're
thanks.
cracked. That's the thing. Gord, do you know when the tiles were down on the roof? No. Okay, these...
Roof renovation, they both started with R. So Rhonda thought that would be confusing. Well, ceiling and renovation, we can keep it separate in our heads.
Yeah, that was my rebranding. May not have been as successful. Any other questions about that? Yeah.
Yes. Am I correct in assuming that once all these renovations are done, then that cost won't be here next year? So what we're looking forward to next year is probably having more money in the budget than we have this year, without any more added expenses, because it'll be all taken care of.
Yes, it should be done by then. So this budget that we're talking about today is an operational budget for the people, the light, the electricity. There will be a different ask for the finishing the renovation, phase 2 of the renovation, and then hopefully not much for the fix, based on the numbers I have this morning.
So in other words, in the years to come, we should be looking at not having a deficit. Because there won't be as many expensive renovations to do.
This is, again, this is a philosophical thing about the church, and it's your church, and I've heard lots of arguments about how it's important to run as a deficit, but I believe that's yours.
Well, I heard it's been a big discussion. So yes, we believe the deficit will be lower in coming years. There's just a lot of big asks right now. But do we want a balanced budget? Is that risky? Are we reaching farther every year? So this is something that we come to you with, but with risk as one of our values, it seems like we want to keep reaching and stretching. Not to the value of 66K maybe, but a smaller deficit we would be comfortable with so far.
And with the gym and kitchen available, then we'll get added revenue there too.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what Leah was talking about, a stewardship committee. So a group of people looking to find ways of, making up and exceeding that shortfall. If you're interested, talk to Leah, talk to me.
Has there been a conversation to resume the meal service in the gym, or is that dependent on the phase 2 fundraising success?
No, we are so excited to start lunch again. As soon as the kitchen's open, we'll make sandwiches, we'll do whatever we need to. That is such a big part of who we are, and everybody misses it, and we miss it as a part of connection and getting to know people and welcoming people, even just for the lunch. So we're very excited about lunch resuming.
Sorry, is that budgeted for 2025 or 2026 then?
Like a lunch budget?
Yeah.
There is a food budget. We will also be asking for donations for that to offset that, but there is money budgeted for that. For 2025.
We've spent a fair amount of time talking about deficits and how we're going to deal with that. One of the things that's mentioned in the budget, and we don't have a number figure on it, and I'm wondering if there's any prospective number possible, is what we're going to raise from rentals.
Sorry, which kind of revenue?
What we're going to raise in rentals, I think, Gord, was the question.
That's in there.
Gym rentals, all that stuff.
That was other income. Was that 60 something? 64?
Oh.
Programs and other
Nancy, you
income?
want to take
Yeah.
okay.
Do you want that fleshed out a little bit more? Okay. Do you want to speak to that, Robert?
I think
Okay.
what the budget represents is not a huge rental number that we're reliant on, depending on when the gym gets finished. We do have a major tenant, which is downstairs, and they contribute to about 120, 125 of our budgeted rentals. So we're gradually trying to find some anchor rentals that may want to use our completed kitchen as a commercial kitchen. That will take a while to get all the right connections and awareness out there. And certainly the pickleball thing, don't know how that's going to work, but we're pretty positive on thinking that will trickle into a regular program there. So I think that next year's budget only has about 20,000 built in for those kinds of additional rentals.
For Living Spirit, we are also working with the landlord, to bring in another tenant there. So another daycare is moving in. They're pulling things out, putting back things, doing that kind of work right now. And that will make that financially stable as well, which is great news.
Hi, Dale Master here, and I work on ministry and personnel, and so I'm a little bit closer to a lot of things that go on than you might be as a normal congregant. And what I want to say is that last year was an incredibly difficult year for this church with all the things that happened. So I think our people have come through very well, and this is also the clearest budget presentation that I've ever seen. So I want to thank the board for that. Thank you.
we didn't pay him for that, just saying.
Hi, Larry Pierce. You just mentioned the Living Spirit. I understand that the operating costs for the facility are covered. Is that by the United Church area and not out of our budget here?
I will tell you what I know best, but there were people in the room who know better than me. When that church was closed, I don't know if that's the right word, there was some money in the bank. And that happened, I'm going to just make it easy for myself, 2020. And we've been spending that money down every year. And that money is and that was to keep the cleaners, heat, et cetera, the boiler repair, the elevator repair, et cetera. Keep that going and the administration of it. So that went away. We spent it all. So the challenge for that really hit us in December when it was low, and then we've been working closely with the group that runs it, New Ministries, I think they're called. I just know the guy's name's Joel. And so then we've been working with him to get a tenant in there. So that would just cover, making the lights on, doing that kind of stuff, getting the janitor paid for, and then all of the service stuff, the ministry stuff, has been coming out of this church here. So, and then as the donations start to come up, we'll be balancing it out. Did I answer your question? I'm not sure if I'm going round and round and round, but was I going round and round and round, or did I answer your question?
No, I was really interested in the kind of operational, those hard costs of maintenance and lights and so on. I know that the staff part is our responsibility.
Yeah. So I've been working with them, and it'll be interesting having another tenant in there and building that relation positively. I've been working to make a sort of a budget versus actuals with the 3 different areas as equal players into it. A lot of trust needs to go in, a lot of goodwill, a lot of, I don't know what to do about this, what do you think? So it's working. It's a challenge, but it's working, and I think we'll get it going. Don't get me started about the capital problems out there, but next.
Any other questions? You're supposed to wait 7 seconds, apparently. I think we're there. Oh, see, look at that. Oh, no, you give me a count. Okay, yeah, you give me a count.
Okay, so now is when we would put this to the vote to pass. We have a moved by Nancy, seconded by Pam, I believe. So all in favor to approve this budget, raise your hand. Aye. And any nays?
Danielle, are you online? Do I see her?
Oh, right. Okay.
Call for the
Yeah, any nays?
nays online, Danielle? Considering there could be 7 billion people out there, they might outvote us.
Okay, and any abstainers? Okay.
Abstentions.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Leah?
Sorry, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We have a congregant who would like to speak.
This is my favorite day because I don't speak on budget day. I just want to answer a couple of things. Jim Sterling, we're looking forward to you joining the Stewardship Committee because the stewardship people, what they do is they take financial budgets and they tell the story. So that people who aren't financial, like myself and others, understand how the money is spent and used and raised. So we'll look forward to having those who will come together soon. So if you have an interest in telling the story of our church and how it relates to finance, please speak to me, because we are going to tell that story. Secondly, part of this morning was you had fabulous congregants, board members and congregants tell the story of our values. And the whole point of that was to help you see how your values come alive and they're lived. And I want to thank the people that did that today and for you being part of that morning, because this budget meeting is not about all of our ministries. It's really about taking time to say, this is our budget, how we're going to live the values. So I thought it was a great day to hear that story. The last thing I want to say is, well, second last, it really was a tough year last year. for staff and for our building and for the stress of the world. And I think that people worked really hard in the best of circumstances to address our renovation, then our ceiling, and all of the things that went with that. So it was a really tough year. And the last thing I want to say is that our board spent, I want to say, at least 7 hours on this budget, okay, prior to coming to you, in 3 different meetings to make sure that we were accurate, making sure we were responsible, and making sure that we could speak to you in a way that we feel all of us are part of the giving to this church. And so Robert's got a few more gray hairs because it's been a tough one to lead. I want to thank Nancy Watts, who stepped in to help us do that as well. But the board worked really hard on this, and so thank you, Dale, for your comment, because we want to make it clear and simple and accurate, and a lot of work went into this. So I want to commend the people who did this on your behalf.
And thank you for the gift of your time this morning. Now go and enjoy a beautiful day. Thank you.